Hi, I'm Terry Delknap, Principal Program Manager here at Microsoft, and today I want to show you a cool way that you can actually use an open source tool called osConfig to actually command and control multiple forward deployed boxes simultaneously. You got to check this out. Stay tuned. When I worked for the government, we had forward deployed collection boxes in multiple locations around the globe that required remote management, typically over SSH, which is time consuming and prone to mistakes. Now, it would have been great if I could run a command one time or upload a config file one time and have it apply everywhere. This would minimize errors on my part and it would reduce attribution risk significantly. Microsoft released an open source tool called osConfig. Does everything on my wish list and more. You can find it over on GitHub. I want to show you how to use this tool to manage forward deployed boxes. But before I begin, I want to show you the environment that I've set up to mimic forward deployed boxes and how we're going to interact with them, especially at a top secret level. We're going to leverage Microsoft's Azure cloud, not the public cloud, but the cloud for the US government. Designed for the intelligence community, and believe it or not, it's actually classified at the top secret level. So you can actually go here to this URL and read all about it if you want. Unfortunately, you and I do not have direct access to the top secret cloud, but we can use the public cloud to actually do this demo and actually prove to ourselves that it actually works. Now, in addition to my Azure account with Microsoft, I've set up a DigitalOcean account as well. Now, these 4 VMs that I've created over at DigitalOcean are to represent the forward deployed boxes in different countries. So we got Damascus, Baghdad, Karachi, and Kabul. These are the boxes that we need to interact with, configure, run commands on, but instead of SSHing into each one and doing the task at hand, I want to show you how we can use osConfig in the Azure cloud to run that command or that configuration one time and have it apply to all the boxes simultaneously. Okay, I got a few terminal sessions going on here. Now, this one here, this first tab is going to be where I'm going to run the script that I built. The other 4, I basically went ahead and connected via SSH to all 4 of the remote boxes that we're going to be targeting. Now, I didn't have to do this, but I'm doing this so I can at least show you what actually happens on the box when we use osConfig via the Azure cloud. All right, I'm going to launch the script that I created, and I'll make this available on GitHub. It's not the best script in the world, but at least it provides a proof of concept that what we're talking about and are trying to do actually works. So before I start going through the motions here, I need to describe how Azure's architecture works. The first thing you need to do is create a resource group. And then within that group, you can have various resources like software-defined networks, virtual machines, IoT hubs, which is what we're going to create, and basically other collections of assets. So we need to create a resource group. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to create a hub. Basically, this technology was built for IoT devices, but I think this applies equally well to any Linux box that's forward deployed or out in the field or that you have to remotely administer, especially if you have a large fleet of devices. So create the resource group, then we have to create our hub, and within the hub, we're going to create what are called digital twins. Now, these aren't actual VMs of the boxes that are already out there, but it's kind of like a framework or a skeleton that's going to accept our commands and then push it out to our boxes out in the field. And then finally, once the twins are created, we can start executing commands against them. So let's go ahead and create our first resource group. And we'll only use one for this particular example, but you can set it up any way that you like. Before I can even create the first resource group, I need to connect to my Azure account. So I'm going to go ahead and connect. It's going to tell me to pick my account. I'm going to log in there, and I should be connected. So now I can go ahead and create my first resource group. It doesn't take long to create one, so I'm going to call this one SOCOM. And it's done. Now, I want to create the hubs. And what I'm going to do is create the hubs into regions, because I want to administer these boxes, say, on a area of responsibility or regional basis. So the first one I'm going to do is called MENA, and it will belong to our SOCOM resource group. And so this will take a while to actually create the hub. And then once this is done, we can go and create our second hub. All right, so our MENA hub has been created. I'm going to go ahead and create our second hub. And I'm going to call this one AFPAC. And it belongs to the SOCOM resource group. And now we will create our AFPAC hub. Great, and the AFPAC hub has been created as well. So now we have our two AORs, or hubs, created, MENA and AFPAC. Next, we need to create the digital twins. Remember, we have 4 of them out there: Damascus, Baghdad, Karachi, and Kabul. And we want to put the twins into their specific hubs, or as I'm referring to in these scenarios here, AORs. So let's do that next. So I'm going to call the twins by the exact same name of the boxes that I have deployed. So the first twin is going to be Damascus. Belongs to the resource group SOCOM, and it's going to be in the Middle East, North Africa, MENA hub. And usually this is a pretty quick process to create the twins. There we go. And then we're just going to go on down the line, creating the rest of them as well. This one is Baghdad, SOCOM, also in MENA. Piece of cake. And now we switch over to Karachi, SOCOM. Now this one's going to be in AFPAC. So we'll create the AFPAC twin Karachi, done, and the last one will be Kabul. Kabul, SOCOM, AFPAC. And remember, this is a one-time process. You won't do this every time you need to interact with the boxes. Now, if you want to bring a new box online or you deploy a new box, then of course you have to go through and make sure you create a twin, assign it to a hub if the hub already exists in the resource group. But for all intents and purposes, and for the purpose of this demo, we only have to do this one time, and then we can begin executing the commands. Now, we're almost there. The last thing we need to do is actually connect our forward deployed boxes to communicate over the top secret Azure cloud to the digital twins. And if I quit the program here and just list the directory, you'll see a number of scripts that were created as part of the digital twin creation process. We have scripts for Baghdad, Damascus, Kabul, and Karachi. And we need to run these scripts on the remote boxes. Again, this is a one-time setup process. You will never have to do this again once you do it the first time. And I'll just show you quickly what one of the scripts looks like. What we're doing is basically updating the package environment. We're installing the package keys for the Microsoft repo, adding that repo. We're adding in some Azure tools, and you can see there that we're adding in osConfig, the whole point of this, at the end as well. And you'll see there that there's this connection string that is a unique string for each one that permits it to communicate back to the twin and vice versa in the cloud to receive instructions and information. So we need to run these commands on each one of the boxes, and we're going to do that next. I took the liberty to pre-position the commands for each one of these boxes here that we're going to run those specific scripts on with the connection strings. So I have to SSH into the box, and then this is how we actually execute the script on the remote box. I'm just going to flip through here, make sure I didn't fat finger anything or mistype anything. Okay, looks good. So we'll go ahead and do this with the first box, make sure it works, and then we'll hit the other boxes. So we've connected, and you can see that we're executing the script. And once the script executes and all the packages are loaded, it will go ahead and kick us out as the system reboots. So it can then install osConfig. So that seems to be working fine. Let's go ahead and kick off the rest of these. And then just take a look, make sure everything seems to be working. Yep, everything's there. Great. All right, so our scripts are running on the remote boxes. Again, this is just a one-time thing. You only have to do this one time to get everything installed. And then we'll actually go back to my script here, and we will actually view the twins to make sure that they're actually connected and communicating with the Azure cloud. All right, after some time has elapsed and everything has rebooted, you can see that I SSH'd back into each one of the boxes here, so they're back up and running. Again, the only reason I'm doing this is so when I make changes to the machine, the boxes, you can actually view the changes. So we don't have to be doing this. So let's view using the script I built. Let's take a look and make sure that they are connected. The forward deployed boxes are connected to the digital twin in Azure Cloud. So I have to pick my resource group. We're going to do SOCOM, and the first hub we want to look at is MENA. And we should either see a connection of connected or disconnected as a status. So the connection state is connected. So we see that the osConfig module is installed. The forward deployed boxes are indeed connected and talking to the cloud at this point. Let's go ahead and view our other hub, the FPAC hub, and hopefully they're connected as well. Okay, good. Now, as I said, all that was the setup. Once this has been set up, this is how easy it is to run commands on the boxes. So the first example is going to be very easy. I want to actually create a file on all of my forward deployed boxes in the MENA AOR or the MENA hub. So I'm going to go ahead and execute my command. We're in the SOCOM resource group. We're hitting the MENA hub, and we're going to actually touch a file in the root folder. And when I enter the command, it should execute the touch command on both boxes pretty much at the same time without me having to do anything more than what I just typed. So let me just go ahead and jump over to the box right now and list the directory just to show you that, in fact, nothing exists other than a snap folder, okay? So both the Damascus and the Baghdad, there's nothing there. So let's go ahead and run the command. I have to give the command a name, so I'm just going to call it touch. Okay, so I got feedback that the command has been accepted by the twins. Now we're waiting for the twins to actually push the command out to our remote boxes, and then we get a confirmation status back that the command has actually been applied to those boxes. Now we can configure the wait time, probably something more reasonable to maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds. But given the fact that we're dealing with potential satellite hops and things of that nature, depending on your your forward deployed comms link back to the cloud, you may want to adjust this time accordingly to compensate for that. So let's see, we're verifying the command. Okay, so it's successfully applied to our 2 targets. So let's see if we actually created a file in the root directory. There's Damascus, and there's Baghdad. Okay, so this is how we can actually interact with multiple machines, issuing one command, and it deploys it to all the boxes in a particular hub or AOR. Now here's a more realistic example of a command that back in my day I would have wished I had a tool like this, because it would have made this type of task so much easier. But this will be a command to run TCP dump on the remote boxes. Whether you're looking to collect intel off the any of the interfaces, the wired interface, or better yet, even the Wi-Fi interface, this is something that makes that job so much more easy to implement without having to remotely log into every single box and run the command and set a configuration. So let's go ahead and execute the command. We're going to apply this one this time to the AFPAC group. And again, this is going to go to all boxes that are in AFPAC. So the command is going to be TCP dump. And since I don't have a wireless interface, I'm going to just hit ETH0. I am not going to do any name resolution. And I'm going to write the file out to root data as a PCAP. So when I execute this command, it should run on both Karachi and Kabul. And then once it's got some time to collect some data, we'll pop over to those boxes, take a peek, and see if this is actually running and collecting data. So let's go ahead and hit enter. And I'm going to call this TCP dump. And so it's going to push the command up to the cloud into the AFPAC hub and disperse it to the twins. The twins then are going to communicate directly with both Karachi and Kabul, and we'll wait for some confirmation that it was successfully applied. And then once that happens, we'll pop over to the boxes and see if TCP dump is actually running on those remote boxes. All right, looks like the commands have been successfully applied to our 2 targets in the AFPAC group. So let's hop over to those boxes and just see if we were successful. So we're not going to see anything actually here on the command line. So we're going to have to see if it's actually a running process. And sure enough, in Karachi, we have TCP dump running on ETH1, writing it out to a file in the root directory. Let's double check Kabul and make sure that was successfully running. Indeed it is. Do we have any packets collected yet? Yes, so there is our packet. How big is it? We've got about 4K there in Kabul. Let's take a look at Karachi. Yeah, we got a packet capture there in Karachi. And that one's about 12K. Okay, so now I want to kill this process. I want to stop the collection process. So there are different ways to kill commands. This is just one way that I know of. So I'm going to execute a kill command for TCP dump. And this is going to the AFPAC hub. And the command is going to be kill, the typo there, kill the PID of TCP dump. And hopefully if this works, it should send the kill command, automatically look for the PID of TCP dump and kill that specific process. So I'm going to say call this kill TCP dump, and I'll show you why later. Why we have to give these commands names. So we wait for this to actually get sent up to the cloud. Looks like the twins have accepted it, pushed it out. So now we just wait for Karachi and Kabul to report back. All right, looks like it was successfully applied to our 2 targets in Karachi and Kabul. So let's go ahead and take a look. We'll run the same process here to see if it's been killed. Yep, it's killed in Karachi. And it is also done in Kabul. So let's take a look here, see if we actually captured any data. Yep, okay, so we got some data there. No need to keep seeing that. And we'll do the same thing here in Kabul. Let's read the packet, make sure it actually collected some data. Yes. So you can see how much of a time saver this would be, how it minimizes errors, because you only type the command one time and it gets deployed to a handful or hundreds or thousands of boxes simultaneously instead of having to SSH into every one. You can do updates, apply patches, change configurations. I mean, whatever you can do on the command line for these particular boxes, you can issue the exact same command through osConfig and have it take care of dispersing that command to all these boxes. Now, remember I showed you when we were going through the script where you actually had to give a name to each of the commands that you ran. So let me show you why they have you do that. So this is the portal interface, the GUI interface for Azure. And everything that I showed in the script, you can see through this portal. I find using the script to be a little bit easier, but you can see our SOCOM resource group here. And then within the resource group, we can see our 2 AORs, our hubs, AVPAC and MENA. And if you click on MENA, you will see our, this is the dashboard. And if we want to look at the actual devices, the twins that we set up, you can click on devices. And then you can see Baghdad and Damascus here, and that they're enabled and connected. Now remember, when we ran the commands, we had to give them a name. In Azure world, those commands we execute are considered configurations. So you come over here to the configuration option, and you see, here's our touch when we actually created a file on each one of the devices. And you can see the metrics here that we targeted to and it was applied to. You can drill down into this, click on the touch command, and you can actually see that it created a JSON file, basically. And this is what got sent to the actual box out in the field, and the osConfig module took this JSON file, interpreted it, and ran that command. We can look at the AVPAC same way, just the dashboard here. Look at the individual devices. We should see Karachi and Kabul, which we do. And if we look at the different commands that were run, we can come over here to the config file, and I see I spelled TCP dump wrong. But the last command here was kill TCP dump. And if we actually look on the settings, we can see exactly the JSON file that was sent to the forward deployed boxes to implement. So this was the reason that we had to apply a name to those particular commands when we ran them. There's probably a way to pull those up individually via the command line. I didn't think it was necessary at this point in time. I'm sure if you want to, you can modify the script to do so. All the commands are documented on Azure's documentation. But that's pretty much it. I hope you found the demonstration useful. I hope you find osConfig useful. Set up a free account, play with it, set up some VMs to mimic remote boxes, and see if you can't get it to work. I find it to be absolutely a time saver, and I really wish I had this when I was working for the government, because it would have saved me a lot of stress, time, and probably I wouldn't be as angry as I was when I found out that I was typing the same commands incorrectly and not getting a positive response. So hopefully you found it beneficial. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll get the script that I wrote up in the GitHub. Again, your mileage may vary. It's not the best in the world, but at least it's something you can start with and play around with. All right. Hope you have a good day. I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.